Hey guys, want to bring you another YouTube video about, the Niners' future and reaction and thoughts about the Niners' recent loss against the Rams on Thursday night. Very disappointing, not surprised. A couple of big takeaways, and again, knowing as a sports fan, and I should have known not to give up my hope because I knew Brock Purdy would struggle in the rain. The Niners are starting to have that reputation, especially Brock Purdy, with cold or wet conditions. Well, I would say more wet conditions than anything. Brock Purdy struggles. And so that's something that needs to be looked at. And I don't know, because for you to want a contract extension coming up this year, to put up only 6 points is very disappointing, especially you got beat up in Buffalo. Um, Green Bay, they have ice or snow, so that's still considered wet conditions. So I don't know about Brock, to be honest, on how much you could pay him because it does rain, it does get snow conditions, it does get rough. And so that is something that needs to be looked at. Debo Samuel, another thing that wasn't surprised. If a receiver complains, they try coaches tries to find a way, but sometimes Kyle Shanahan, to his fault, forces it way too much. Um, and I think Brock Purdy is part of the problem too, because yeah, you're the quarterback. Why don't you give it to the other guys that was playing better, like George Kittle and Jennings previous? Now I know Jennings was dropping them early on because of the rain, but in the second half, you didn't get him the ball as much. You didn't get George Kittle the ball as much against the Bears compared to the Bears. So that is very disappointing. Um, yeah, it didn't help that Isaac Guerrero was not able to open up the running game to help with the play action. But Debo Samuel wanted the ball. If you want the ball, you better produce. And you had that chance. Pretty much whoever scored one touchdown won this game. And that's what it came down to. Because Brock Purdy hit Debo Samuel right at, I played receiver for a little bit too. I mean, yeah, if it's raining, I prefer to try catch it with my chest and bring it in this way. Debo had it with his hands, and the thing was always said, and the rule of thumb was a receiver: if it hits your hands, you better catch them. Um, and so for him to not be able to, it's not very promising that he's going to be back next year. And then Devontae Campbell, that's another player, the linebacker that walked out on the Niners in the third quarter when Dre Greenlaw, D Winter was out. I mean, we needed him to go out there on a big game. And for you to walk out, I hope you don't get a job. I'm sorry. Especially nobody would trust you at this time. Especially you being a free agent, no one would trust you to be on their team. So now the Niners are out of the playoffs. Yeah, there's 0.1%. So it's less than 1%. I'm not buying it. You're out. I prefer to, at this point, focus on the future. I've said that a couple of videos ago too. It doesn't look good. I mean, for me, I prefer you don't want to be mediocre. You don't want to be stuck. You either want to be really good at competing every year or you want to suck and rebuild quick. That's how it should be. That's how I mean, look at my Houston Rockets now. Look right here. We sucked for a while. Now we're back. I feel like this is the year we're starting to finally. We're probably going to make it to the playoffs this year. We're in the Cup semifinals. I mean, things are looking good, especially even if we don't win this Cup. I don't mind because I think with this Cup experience, it is building onto something bigger. I think. Um, Kind of see who is going to be around and gain the playing time, who's going to be clutch, who's going to be able to produce in the playoffs and key moments. Because the one and out, just like the NCAA, is important to be able to figure that out. And I think that's what's going to happen with the Niners season. Last couple games, I would play all the young guys and the players that you know that's coming back, like Bosa. I would shut him down because, like I said, I would rather have him rest and make sure he's healthy for next season and hungry. I want to make sure I would put Brock Purdy out. I think we need to see if he could produce. Can he win a game with you taking a big portion of the salary cap? Can you win with a Jawan Jennings that's not taking a big portion? Because I hope he's extended. He's on 2 years, but I think he would be a better type of receiver with the Niners in that sense because he can't separate, but he's a possession type of receiver. Um, Ricky Pearsall, you're gonna have to work with him. I would rest, to be honest, George Kittle. He's on the older side. Let's play some of the other guys. Like find the tight end that might be able to play. Um, Cowing, that's another one I would play. It's time to play more of the younger guys. Isaac Garendo, I would continue to play him. Patrick Taylor Jr. You got to know what you got because, like I said, you're going to have to get real players and find out which young player is going to be ready to step up next year. So, yeah, the rumor is Kyle Shanahan right here. You can see it. It's kind of breaking news today. The rumor is that the Niners is saying Kyle Shanahan isn't going anywhere. It's if you type it out, Niners keeping Kyle Shanahan. So that is something that it sounds like they're going to keep him. Like I said, I think if Kyle Shanahan is traded, I'm fine with that. If we could get multiple draft picks, like in the first round or second round, but you gotta have a successor plan. You don't want another situation like Jim Harbaugh. So I would say if you think or you can have Ben Johnson, I would take him. I would take a flyer because it could be a younger version of Kyle Shanahan. So the other thing, I don't know why both of these came out today um, on a Saturday and after they lost. And that's why I'm trying to tie things together. Like, I'll explain why I think Kyle Shanahan, like I said, but with Brock Purdy, I've already kind of touched this. They're planning to give him a multi-year deal. I think that could be a problem. I would make him play that last year of the contract if he wants to sit it out. Like I said, I would try to get another quarterback that is opposite of Brock Purdy in that sense. Um, I mean, Sam Darnold would have been a good one to have kept because obviously he's looks like revive his career. So that would be interesting. I would prefer to give him if you're going to give him a multi-year deal, do it right away. If you can on the cheap, like the Baker Mayfield type of deal. I would prefer 30 million or less, to be honest. 35 or less. I think you could build around that. Now, the other thing why it's not as bad or dire because it's expected. You play a lot of football, you've dominated a couple years. So you're it's taking a toll, especially on older team. So Kyle Shanahan, obviously, these first 2 years, this is a record. Missing playoffs, okay, yeah, that's fine. First 2 years, you gotta rebuild this team. You gotta retool this team. Um, but look at the third year, lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. All right, that's great. In the third year, that's great. So he misses the playoffs right here. and this is where we could finish with 6 wins right now because we got 5. So it's actually I think we are not 5. That's older, but I think it's going to be close to this record because look right here after that. Then we went back to the playoffs, went to another playoff, to the NFC Championship, and then lost again to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now, again, what usually happens, it seems like when you go to the Super Bowl, you have that Super Bowl hangover, which is expected this year. Not surprised, especially with so many injuries. So, if Kyle Shanahan, I mean, like I said, because you got us back to the Super Bowl, fine, I can live with that, especially so many injuries. That's why I'm saying shut these old guys down. No need to play them. Let's get a higher draft pick. I mean, if you get us back to the NFC Championship or Super Bowl, all is forgiven. That's what I'm saying. Now, can he win the big one? That's a big question because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he could be the Andy Reid of the Niners, and maybe he needs that fresh start. But like I said, we don't have a better option at this point. And if this is the track record or trend, I'm okay with it. Let's tear. Let's have a great season next year. Let's have a great draft. Get some better players. Get rid of, like I said, Debo at this point because he's not going to be. But you gotta find out what some of these young receivers that we have. I think they could play and build that chemistry with Brock Purdy if you're going to plan on keeping him around. Let me know what you think. Am I crazy with the future? I mean, what did you think of the Rams and Niners game? Very disappointing. That's what I'm saying. Brock, if you want to get paid, you gotta produce. And this year you haven't produced, but again, you had a lot of injuries. So that's where you're gonna have to play with some of these guys that don't have the big contracts because that's what Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, these guys that take most of your money in the cap, you're gonna have to be able to build on the cheap on some positions. So let me know what you think. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. And together we could build a better tomorrow. Thanks again.